Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice channel. What I want to talk about today is the problem with AI music. So for this video, I will be talking about the reasons why AI music not only is bad, but also is a bad idea, and why we should not support it and it should outright be banned. So that is what I will be talking about today when it comes to this particular issue. Which will consist of everything from how it will have a negative effect on the enjoyability of music to simply why it's a bad idea in general and it should not be created in the first place. So now that I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to why AI music is a bad idea, the first point to make is it simply comes down to the fact that it kills creativity, or I should say limits creativity. Now, the reason why I say that is that when it comes to creativity is something that you cannot put a number on. It's simply impossible. Many people have tried to do it and have attempted to do it and they've all failed. It's simply impossible. As coming up with an idea is something that is simply infinite. There's an infinite amount of possibilities and stuff you can create with it, and it's much different than just simply numbers. And that's the first biggest problem with AI music, okay? Is that AI music is only capable of being able to just simply take an idea, or I should say for that matter, take ideas from people, not only take it from them, but also without their permission as well, and simply use calculations to calculate a bunch of song ideas that they can create through it, instead of understanding the actual process of creativity, which is that creativity comes down more to the concept more than it comes down to numbers, okay? Which, if you don't know what I mean by that, to be very specific, as clear as day, to explain what I'm saying, an idea in the case of music is down to the specific concept you're able to come up with. It's just like when you look at different decades of music, all the different decades of music sound different, okay? As I'm certain you're aware, anyone who uses their brain is well aware of that, okay? And one of the reasons why they sound different is because they had people at the time, at least, compared to now, where it's kind of like it's a bit of a mix between people and machines. But at the time, they only specifically had people, and someone created a specific idea and a concept, whether it comes down to the specific instruments they use, to the specific types of chord progressions they used, to the specific idea of the topic that they're going to be talking about for their music. And they created something new, just like grunge, for example, in 1990s, early 1990s specifically. That was not something that was created gradually. It was just created simply from scratch, okay? Someone came up with an idea for a sound and just created it from scratch instead of it being a natural progression. And that's why there was an issue between hair metal and grunge music. Or another example, aside from grunge, would be rap music. Someone came up with an idea, why don't we use these particular instruments and stuff to make this particular sound, and make also music that talks about that music genre that's based off of rhyming. And you know what happened? Guess what? You created rap. And that's simply what I have to say about rap, for that matter, okay? So that's the same thing here. And if you want something to really be fresh and enjoyable, you need to have an actual original concept, which means that actually fresh ideas, not just something that will just create a number of ideas, a number of beats, for example. Like in the case of beats specifically, it'll create a bunch of beats or something, and song ideas for that matter, based on the number of combinations it can create. And the reason why that's problematic is it's problematic because you're going to have, as a result of that, since there's no concept to it, like if you had a human being created it, for that matter, you're going to have an issue where you're going to start to notice, oh my gosh, you have a bunch of songs that sound the same, or at least not just sound the same. The music doesn't evolve. It starts, you might literally have one decade, and another decade, and the music still sounds exactly the same. So that's the problem with AI music. It will limit creativity absolutely and completely, and you have a bunch of songs that sound the same. Because to create an actual idea, you have to start off with how it looks in the first place. Another good example to explain exactly what I mean by an idea. Let's just say you create a design, okay? You create a fire design, okay? All an algorithm can really do in the case of AI music is just make a numerous different variations of that particular design idea. While if you, of course, were to actually come up with an idea, or I should say, in other words, if you actually had a human coming up with a design idea, they can come up with fundamentally numerous different fundamental ideas for how the design looks, okay? Whether, it could be one way or the other. So there's numerous different combinations you can create, okay, for that matter, okay? So that's the first point I can say. It will absolutely limit creativity. So that's the first point. The second point, when it comes to the problem with AI music, is simply put it that it kills the connection between artists. Because it's actually more interesting to actually listen to music when you're actually like, oh my gosh, this is actually based on someone's actual real life story, instead of just going like, okay, this is just simply an AI story, which means it's completely fictional, or something that's not based on your an actual real life experience, which makes the music boring. Especially when it comes to rap music, which a lot of rap music tends to talk about, it tends to focus primarily on telling a story, especially a story of someone's struggle that they've been through. How can I relate to that or go hard to that when I know it's an AI robot that created that whole story up and made it up, for that matter? How does that even make any sense compared to, if I actually have something like AI, like something like a human being who actually went through this shit and is telling me a story about it? You see, it hits different and doesn't hit the same. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. Okay? So it's not the same. So that's just the other thing it does. It kills that ability. Besides, we already live in a boring world anyway, where not much even really happens, for that matter, particularly here in the West. For that matter, specifically more like, for that matter, here in the West, nothing even really happens. Why do we want to take away something that at least can kind of make things more interesting? So that's the second biggest problem when it comes to AI music. It kills the ability of authenticity. And the third last reason why AI music is a horrible fucking idea, for that matter, yes, I swore, is simply down to the fact that it takes away the freedom of people to actually make music. Because let's be honest about this world. Anyone who knows about the world, okay, let's be honest. Let's not play no BS here, okay? The world we live in is full of people who run it, or I should say the world is run by people who are cheap, okay? Because the question becomes, okay, and this is down to common sense, okay? Why would somebody want to spend anywhere from hundreds of dollars to, God forbid, for all you know, thousands of dollars in some cases, to make an instrument, for that matter, to create an instrument, when someone could obviously use a device and a material that can do that stuff for free, completely from scratch, okay? Let's be honest here about economics 101. The people who run this world specifically, not just economics 101, would do everything to reduce the cost of producing the product as much as possible, so they can obviously make as much money in return as possible, okay? And obviously, as a result, it takes away the ability for people who come from the struggle, whether it could be from the ghetto or people who've just in general had a rough upbringing, from being able to voice themselves through music. And obviously, if people who are discontent with the way the government is going and the world is going for that matter, what do you think is going to happen? They're obviously, of course, surprise, surprise, not going to have the ability to speak up because we're going to live in a world where there's no need for people to really make music anymore because machines and AI does everything for us. So the truth of the matter is absolutely 110% this AI music thing is a terrible idea. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's a terrible idea. It should never have been thought of and should definitely not be created. So anyway, this is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say and simply put it, I'm out. So bye.